Hello and welcome to the 83rd installment of the Synapse Misfire Podcast. I'm your host, Chris, joined, as always, by our co-host, Jordan.
That's me, baby.
That's him.
That's me. We should have a mirror, so there's two of me.
Why?
Just because. It would be funny.
Okay. Jordan, this podcast, this thing we got going on here, if people wanted to listen on like a platform that's not like youtube.com, where might they be able to go?
So, if you want to listen to the audio-only version of this podcast, you can find it natively on Apple Podcasts, Google Podcast Breaker, Radio Public, Spotify, and of course, Pocket Cast. It's my app of choice. As always, there's the RSS feed. You can import that into your favorite media consumption app. Listen to us there, wherever. And if you wish to contact us, you can do so via email, synapsemisfire@pm.me. Comments, questions, concerns, and death threats. We also have Instagram and TikTok where we post highlights. Check us out there. And, yeah, that's about it. You can reach us many a way.
Yeah.
Pretty soon, Chris is going to have an OnlyFans you can reach him at as well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, Jordan.
Yeah.
This morning.
Yep.
You have plans this afternoon. You gotta like pay your taxes or whatever.
Yeah.
So we just start at like 10 o'clock this morning. So I woke up at 9 o'clock and I texted Jordan.
Which is early for Chris.
I texted Jordan. I said, "What are we doing?" And he goes, 10 o'clock. I said, "All right, fine." So I'm like, okay, I got plenty of time. I got an hour. Hop in the shower, eat some breakfast, and then I'll be ready, right? Nah. It's not how it happened.
Why not?
Woke up, internet broken.
Oh, no, not the internet, just brokey.
Internet broken. So I had to figure out what the hell was going on. Restarted my router. Then, my wired connection on the computer, not working. So, restarted the computer, now it's fine. So we're good. Now, wake up, shower, done, alright? Shower, done, clothes on. I still have, 25 or 30 minutes. Good. Mm-hmm. My dad's downstairs, and he's taking apart the room that we're going to do our studio in. He's, like, taking shit out of there.
Which should be coming soon, by the way.
There's mirrors and shit on the wall. And he's just, like, taking them all off the wall. I'm like, okay, what's going on here? He said, I sold a bunch of these. You gotta help me bring them upstairs. I'm like, okay. Oh, all right, I guess I'm gonna do that. So, we do all that. By this time, Jordan texted me that he was on his way. And I was like, oh, well, I haven't even done anything yet. So, I make myself a cup of coffee. I grab a muffin from the thing upstairs. I grab a muffin, I eat it, shove it in my mouth over the trash. I don't have to worry about any of the crumbs or anything. And then I have this coffee, and I'm like, okay, I can just drink this while we're doing the podcast. It's not the end of the world.
Yeah.
So I did that. It was just a bit of a rush. It was just a bit of unexpected consequences that came up.
Yeah, in case you're wondering why these episodes are a little low, not low energy. We've had lower energy episodes.
Dude,
but they're
don't
not
even
hype.
Don't even talk about low energy unless you want to talk about the blizzard ones.
The blizzard ones, dude.
The snowed in episodes.
Those are so bad. Like if I didn't have what I would like to call OCD in terms of like how I bitched about episode 13 not really being a podcast, I'm like, damn it, we were almost clean and crisp. We always had a good separation. I would say we should delete those. They're so bad.
We should declare those as non-canon episodes. Those are non-canon. We'll keep
That's
them
an
there.
alternate universe.
We'll keep them there, but they're non-canon. Like
Yeah.
they don't fit into the lore at all.
Yeah, they.
So there's that. I was just in a bit of a rush. It is what it is. But Jordan, how was your morning?
Honestly, very, very similar. So
I would like to wake up earlier, and I was like, I plan on waking up earlier. It's just like, shit happens. You know how it is. I was up till like 1 a.m.
Yeah.
So.
No, we woke up late too. I got out of bed at like 9. So
okay.
It was very similar to the point where...
Because I woke up, I had my alarm set for 7:15 because that's how it's set for when I go to school.
Yeah.
So I'm like, I'm not, because I have 2 presets on my alarm. I'm not going to change it just for the weekend. So I just have it on 7:15 and I just snooze it until I feel like actually getting out of bed.
Oh, is it like a regular alarm, not on your phone?
Yeah, yeah.
Oh, okay. I was gonna say you could just switch the days, but yeah, it's a
Yeah. I don't use my phone alarm because it's not loud enough. So I have that, and I just snooze it. So it's like 8 o'clock or 8:30. By this time, I wake up, snooze the alarm, look at my phone, because usually by that time I expect to see a text from Jordan. And I look at it, I'm like, oh, that's weird. And I just put it back, and I just went back to bed. And then it was like closing in on 9 o'clock. I was like, oh, I should probably text them.
Yeah.
So, see, here's the difference between Jordan and I. Jordan generally, like, he's compared to me, really got his shit together. All right, like of people my age, probably have my shit together way more than other people my age. But, like, I have good savings. I have, like, a stable place to live. I have a nice car. I have a nice job. I'm getting an education.
Right.
Like, I got
leaps and bounds ahead of the average
20-year-old. I have plans for the future. Like, I kind of got some things going for me.
Got something to look forward to down the line.
I got my shit together more so than the average 20-year-old, I would say.
Yeah.
But compared to me, Jordan really has his shit together. So he goes to bed like early, like a normal person, and he wakes up early like a normal person. I don't.
Yeah. I have a routine. I become like unless I'm with the boys, right? So that when we have fires in the summer or the spring and we're up late, I'm pretty good. But if I'm just chilling and I'm awake for no good reason, I get real pissed. I get real grumpy. I get real mad.
It's like 11:30 p.m. and Jordan's like, I'm sick and tired of being awake right now. Fucking angry about it.
I'm just like chewing melatonin. I'm like, fuck this, bro. Put me out.
Fuck this. And then the melatonin comes up. It kicks in and it feels like you got punched in the face.
Feels like I have Oscar in my chest.
That melatonin, that shit'll make you sleep for 4 days. Yeah. That's a strong. I very rarely take melatonin.
So I take every like other day or every couple days I'll take a melatonin, and it's usually perfectly level. One day I was like, man, I really want to sleep in late, and I took 2. Bro,
that was a mistake.
That was the deepest sleep I've had in years. Like
you fucking went into a coma, bro.
I woke up and I was like, is it 2077 yet? Is Cyberpunk real?
Like, holy shit.
Dude, it was crazy.
Yeah, like, I don't know. I'll take one. One time I took melatonin and it kicked in and I was laying down, but I didn't fall asleep. So, like, I just had this, like, crazy melatonin effect happening. So
you like out of body experience.
You kind of like, like your head feels heavy. You feel like you're about to go to sleep.
Yeah.
So it was that feeling for like half an hour, and I was just sitting there. I'm like, go to bed, go to sleep, go to sleep, go to sleep, and it wasn't happening. I finally went to sleep. That shit was annoying. I was mad.
Hey, Chunk.
Look at this cat.
What dosage do you usually take? Is it a 2.5 or a 10?
I take like 5.
5. I usually take 2.5 or whatever. Hi. Ew, I can hear your fucking gums cracking, you weirdo.
This young man.
He's just like, what up?
I don't know what his problem is.
He's just chilling right now. This is probably the friendliest he's been with me in a long time, to be honest.
Hello, Mr. Chunk.
It's weird to see him acting somewhat like a normal cat, to be honest with you.
It's because he's been running up and down the stairs all morning. Because we had this door open and we had the door to the garage open. So he was running between those 2 rooms all morning.
Yeah.
Because he's never allowed in those ones.
And he's just showing me his ass, dude. I just see his fucking ass.
Yeah, he'll do that. So, yeah, melatonin. So how was your morning? You woke up late as well.
Yeah, I woke up pretty late. I hopped up. I was like, shit. I wanted to shower. I was like, I'm a pretty sweaty boy from shoveling out the cars and breaking the ice and going grocery shopping. I was like, I need to shower. I was like, I don't want to make Chris pass out. I don't want it to be like a cartoon where your eyes shrivel up and fall out of your head.
It's like the
SpongeBob Bad Breath episode.
Yeah. Where
hi, Chris, and then he just runs away.
I go, ugh.
That's what I was afraid of. So I'm like, man, I really got to shower. So I hop in the shower. I'm like, all right, now I'm crisp. I'm clean. I'm ready. I ate a little bit of breakfast. I'm like, all right, I'm making good time. Make the bed. Start the laundry. And then I'm like, all right, deuces. But I I was just on autopilot the whole time. I was just kind of just doing things.
Deuces.
So
I got out into my car naked, butt naked. Didn't realize.
Yeah, but it wasn't bad bad at all. It wasn't even really like a rush like yours was. I didn't have like any sudden encounters like having to bring windows or mirrors. So it was very like fine, but it was certainly a little more rushed than I would have liked. So, but it sucked because what I was telling Chris is my hours that I work are business hours. I literally work 8:30 to 5. So it's the business hours.
Yeah.
So because of that, everything I need to do has to be done on the weekend. Dentist appointments, doctor's appointments. Today is my taxes. The only time they had available was 2:00.
Yeah.
It's already noon.
So the thing with shit like that, which is annoying to me, is right. Places that do services for people, like a dentist or like a doctor or like taxes, like a tax attorney. Or whatever, or tax accountant, I guess, but, or like banks too.
Banks especially.
It's like, you realize, the times that people are going to go to these establishments are out of their working hours.
Yeah. Every
right?
time.
So, what hours should we open? Should we open like a little later and do like maybe like 11 o'clock to like 7 so that people can come after work?
Yeah.
Or should we do, should we only be open 9 to 5? Oh, let's just do 9 to 5 because everyone else is working 9 to 5, so then we won't have to do anything.
Yeah.
So that way people have to take time out of their day, out of their work to come to our office.
Yeah.
And in the case of most doctors' offices, not open on the weekends.
Yeah.
Not open on the weekends. Like my doctor's office is not open on the weekends, which is fine because unless I'm going for like a physical, I don't have to go into the office. I can just request a phone appointment.
Right.
And then I can just step out, take a phone call, and it'll be over.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that's what sucks with like the dentist and shit. The dentist, luckily our dentist opens on Saturdays, but then it always conflicts with the podcast. So I try to cram everything into one weekend. So like when I plan everything, it's usually, all right, when do I have the podcast? All right, let's make sure that if I'm going to be busy Saturday and Sunday, it's that one weekend and not split up. So like today, I have this, then I go to tax appointment, and then I have D&D at 4 until probably like midnight. All today. Like I will be home for about an hour today, and that's it. So that's usually how I do it. I always try to plan like, all right, this is going to be the what I would consider the sacrificial weekend. This is the weekend that I'm going to do everything because that way the following weekend I can focus on editing the podcast, making the shorts, and then chilling, So that's usually how it goes. So.
Yeah. Yeah, I kind of try to do a similar thing because I know like a good amount of my time over the weekend is going to be sacrificed to like doing shit for school.
Yeah.
But this weekend I thought was going to be rough, but it's not as bad as I thought. So basically, my professors were all like, "Okay, do an essay or like a massive essay." It was like every professor was like, "Okay, it's due this week." Like, okay, what the fuck? But like a particularly bad one, he put the due date in wrong. So it's actually due next Sunday. So I'm going to have to work on that all week next week.
Yeah, that blows.
And I just want to put like a little bit of time into it each day, I think, just because it's a fucking long paper.
Right. That blows.
And I have to do, one of my professors released our midterm this week when midterms are next week. So he's like, just do your midterm this week. I said, the fuck?
Bro, the fuck?
Yeah, it's like, what's your problem?
No,
midterms are next week. There's 16 weeks in the semester.
Yeah, so midterms
this is
5
week
weeks.
7. Why would it not be on week 8 like everyone else's?
Yeah.
And the midterm isn't a midterm. It's just like, here, write, like, answer these questions in an essay format. I'm like, fuck you. Right? Because there's certain classes, I'm sure every college has this, but there's certain classes that are just like, they're just a jerk off. They're just like classes that you take just to take classes to get credits.
Yeah, filler. It's like a Ubisoft game.
They don't go into like any major or anything. It's one of those classes. But for some reason, some of the professors for those classes take them way too seriously.
Yeah, like you need to at least acknowledge that you are just a jerk off class teacher.
The last time I took a similar class, like under the same like code, was last semester, and the professor was like, he would teach, and then, he would give us like a little quiz, and then that was like kind of it.
Reminds me of physics class.
And that was kind of it, because he knew it was like, this isn't like a serious thing. It's like, I'm not here to like tank your fucking grade. But this time around, different professor. He's like, okay, final project, worth half your fucking grade. Half your grade.
Holy shit.
10-page paper, PowerPoint, and a test all rolled into one. And it's an all-online course, so I'm in a group with people. And he's going to make it a group project because, fuck me, I guess. A group with 3 people that I do not know and have never met in my entire life because they go to, I think, a different branch of our school in a different place.
Nice.
So it's like, I just don't know who these people are.
They're like French. They're like somehow in French. You're like, what the fuck?
And it's the annoying thing. If you're a professor or a teacher, do not assign group projects because it's foolish. Because a group project, it means several people are responsible for my grade.
Yeah.
This is kind of my thing. What I might want to do is, as we continue on with this project, I will make my own version of the project in case the one that my group makes sucks.
Yeah.
I'm going to make my own version of it, so I'm going to say, fuck all you dumb ass motherfuckers. I'm submitting my own project. I said, fuck all of you. Because this has already happened. We already worked on the first part of it, and one guy didn't participate at all. Granted, to be fair, the professor has evaluation sheets. So he had like an evaluation sheet for your group members. And the other 2 people, I gave them like the perfect score. I was like, yeah, did their work, whatever. And this one guy, because this is where I'm at. I'm not that guy that like, I'm going to tell on the teacher. I'm going to tell on you to the teacher. I'm not that guy.
But when it negatively affects you.
But like, this is now my problem.
Yeah.
If you're not participating in this group project thing.
If it's hurting you.
I will become a rat so fucking fast.
Yeah.
It won't even be funny. So I gave him like the minimum score. I gave him like a 0. It was like, did not participate. No communication. And then a couple of days after the thing was due, like 3 days after it was due, he texts me and says, hey, this is so-and-so from this class. Do you need help with that project at all? I said, no, it's done. We turned it in already. Where the fuck were you?
That is fucking hysterical.
I didn't even reply to him. I'm not going to give him my time. I'm going to give him my time of day.
You already wasted your time.
I don't have the time to deal with this, okay? I know there's shit to go on. I know there's shit going on. I don't want to have to deal with you, all right? You already have negatively impacted my perception of you so much that I don't even want to give you my time.
How dumb can you be that you literally reach out after? Like, you're that not even like aware of your own situation to know that project was already due.
It was already due, and then you can't just show up, even if you have like an excuse. You can't just show up and be like, oopsie, I fucked you all over. Go fuck yourself, all right? Die, all right? This is my thing. It's like, if you're gonna do a group project, at least like do the group project.
Yeah, at least do your percentage. Because group projects, in theory, should be super easy.
With my group, when I do group projects, what I do is I always kind of install myself as a leader, and I say, okay, we're gonna do division of labor. I will do this. You guys can pick something else that you want to do, and that's usually fine.
And people are usually like, okay, yeah, cool.
And then we just pick a part, and then we all do our part, and then we just put it all together, and then it's fine.
Yeah.
So I don't understand. It's like, I don't care what you got going on. All right? The least you can do. It takes 30 seconds to send a text.
Yeah.
The least you could do is say, like, hey, I got a lot going on. Even if he was up front, it was like, hey, I got a lot going on. I don't know if I'm going to be able to do much for this. Do you think you could just cover for me? I would have had way more respect for you if you did that.
To say outright, like, hey, I need help, essentially.
Yeah. So it's like, don't do that. If you're that person, perish.
Oh, shit. So it sounds like that group project went well, so the other two members did their shit, so that's good.
Yeah. They're both, I'm going to say both. One of them is like a fucking imbecile.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just like, every day I get more and more evidence. That fucking NPCs are real.
Yeah. That it's a simulation and NPCs
Every
are
single
real.
day I see like people who are like, okay, this is an NPC. Mm-hmm. This person doesn't exist. And I don't know what it is about certain people, but it's just like, you can tell there's not a lot going on. I saw a guy the other day. I was in class, or I was in school, and I was walking around campus, and I see a guy in shorts and flip-flops. He looks like he was about to go to the beach. And I said, that's a fucking NPC. That's a character.
He has no emotion.
That's not a real person.
No sensations.
Like, that shit ain't real. So I don't, like... So this is one of these people I'm working with. It's like, this research paper that we're doing, it's like, he gives like a lot of opinion, and he like tells stories that like happened in his life, and like there's fucking typos everywhere.
For a research paper?
Yeah, and it's like he incorporates research kind of, but the only way he does it is he just like, he puts like, okay, here's a massive quote from this paper, instead of just like incorporating this kind of into
his own lingo, yeah.
Yeah, it'd be like, according to this, or according to this person, and then like expanding upon that in your own words like you're supposed to. It just puts like a massive quote. So I was like, you know what?
He just quotes the entire script of a movie. He's like, here you go.
He's like, you know what? You do you, man. I'm going to do my part, and I know my part's going to be good.
Yeah.
So I did my part, and I included all my stuff. So...
Do you know what your grade was on that yet, or no?
It was pretty good if I remember right, so...
That's good. Nice. That is good to see. Now, before, I mentioned last episode how we went to New Hampshire, or whatever.
Yes.
Not us, but Letsy and I, for those who might not have listened. The night before, we went to see the Uncharted movie.
Was it any good?
It was really fucking good, honestly.
Really? I'm surprised.
Dude, honestly, I'm so sick of cynical people, to be honest with you. Like, okay, is it the game, but in movie form? No, the 2-hour movie does not take place in the same course as the 10-hour game. And if you think it does, or it should have, you're fucking stupid.
Well, yeah. I always heard that, like, video game movies suck. But, also... you have to keep in mind, with movies, there's more of a general appeal to it. It's like, of course you're going to get fans of, like, Uncharted, but also,
like myself.
It's like, you have a general appeal, that you have a general audience that you have to appeal to. So it's like, oh, this expands upon, like, stuff that's established in that universe, but also we kind of have to rope people in, or else we're not going to make money, and we're not going to be able to make another one.
Right. Exactly. Which so far, box office wise, the movie's been doing pretty good.
So,
the movie was good. It starts off pretty much kind of like Uncharted 4 in a way, where it's doing like a little bit of what's it called? Like an intro to Nathan Drake and his brother Sam and the orphanage that they stayed at. So it's very much like the game in that fashion. And it incorporates like little pieces from the different games here and there. And it's pretty cool how it's laid out. So like the plane scene from Uncharted 3, that's the opening scene of the movie part of it. And then it actually builds up and then it goes through the whole scene from start to finish or whatever. Yeah. That's like a whole part of it. So it's straight out of the game essentially. there's the whole point of the movie is the treasure hunt for a pirate treasure, which is what the fourth game is based on. And the way it incorporates that is very similar. Even when you see the ship for the first time, the way that they have Tom Holland or Nathan Drake stand and look at the ship is like right out of the fourth game. And it's really cool. They do little things like that. But overall, the best part about the movie was just that it was fun. It was funny. Mark Wahlberg and Tom Holland, fantastic actors. Were they the best casting possible? No. But they played their part really well. Some of their lines, to me personally, as just a stupid, basic level humor, was very good. Was it super, witty and you really have to think about it? No. It was very on-the-nose humor. But I think it had a perfect capture of Nathan Drake as witty. Yeah. And that's how he's supposed to be. He's very charismatic. He's very smart. He's very witty. And all his combats are always just little quips. And that's how the movie did it. It was just a lot of little shit like that. And it was funny. Was it also weird to see Sully with a New York accent? Very fucking weird as well. But that's how Mark Wahlberg is. But no, it was a good time. It was a good ass time. Even Letsy really liked it. Like I said, some of the castings weren't great. The CGI was pretty good. I have one weird kind of complaint though.
Okay.
Nathan Drake just never uses a gun in the whole movie.
That seems weird.
He just doesn't use a gun. Everything in the movie is hand-to-hand combat with him. And I get what they were going for. It's supposed to be like early, young Nathan Drake, where he's not an adventurer, because there's a whole scene at the end where, and this is where I was kind of disappointed, was because he fights someone and he takes their holster and their gun and he swings it around, and it does this like cinematic masterpiece shot of the way it's filmed and just the amount of time they hold angles in this one scene where he swings the holster around and he puts it on and he stands there and he's literally dressed like Nathan Drake from Uncharted 3, and he's got the gun in the holster, and then he pulls it out and it falls. And that's it. That's the only time you get to see him with a gun. He goes like this to pull it out. There's like a momentum or something, and he drops it over the edge. And that's it. And I'm like, what just happened? Like, I was expecting this to be the moment where we see they have the character building, and then all of a sudden he becomes Nathan Drake as Nathan Drake, and he starts shooting people. No, he drops the gun immediately.
Seems kind of lame.
That was like the most heartbreaking, gut-wrenching part for me. I was like, you've got to be kidding me. But overall, I mean, the hand-to-hand combat, the action, the fucking climbing, because obviously that's what a lot of Uncharted, the climbing, the parkour, really fucking good.
I think you're going to get what you're going to see, which probably already has been seen, is the film critic crowd. There's like the professional critics and like the YouTube critics were like, oh, well, this movie sucks. This movie did this. Fuck you. All right.
Yeah.
It's like, it's supposed to be, this is where my thing is. Like, if you want to watch a good movie, there's plenty of good movies you can watch.
Plenty of them.
If you want to watch a good movie, watching something like Uncharted, or like watching something like Fast and the Furious, it's like you're not going to get a good movie.
No, you didn't get a good time.
You can't walk into one of those movies and expect, like I said, you can't walk into one of those movies and expect The Godfather. You have to be like, oh, well, I'm looking for a silly, stupid movie, and I had a good time watching this. I want to eat some popcorn.
I want to popcorn, get back, and chill.
Yeah, you're like, I had a good time watching this.
Yeah.
This wasn't a horrible experience. I liked this a lot. So I feel like most movies fall under that category. Like, if you walk in and you're like, I just expect to have a good time watching this, you're probably going to enjoy the movie. If you walk in and you're like, I'm expecting I'm expecting a cinema masterpiece.
Yep.
You're going to get, your expectations are going to get crushed every time you watch a movie.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, this movie sucks. Yeah, I know. It's supposed to. It's not supposed to be good. It's not supposed to make you think. It's just supposed to be something to watch that's a good time.
Yeah. And the way they end it, so obviously I've already spoiled plenty of little things here and there, but I guess another spoiler warning for the post-credits scene. So once the movie's over, I was thinking about something like, what are they going to do if they make a sequel or whatever? And literally, the sequel, they show a post-credits scene, and it's Tom Holland as Nathan Drake. He's dressed up similar to how he was as a kid in Uncharted 3. And I was like, oh, that's weird. He has the same exact shirt and everything. I'm like, oh, interesting. So I'm trying to think of like what scene they're going for the game. And then he gets like held up at gunpoint. And all of a sudden, Mark Wahlberg as Sully walks in dressed up with the mustache exactly like Uncharted 1. And I'm like, okay, so what the fuck are they doing here? He's dressed like Uncharted 3 and he's dressed like Uncharted 1. This is weird. I'm like, what are they going for? And then finally, they show Nathan Drake with a gun again. But this time he doesn't fucking drop it. He has an actual gun. And I'm like, all right, cool. And then you find out that they're in like a jungle in Panama looking for a German, a map of a German boat. And I'm like, oh, it's Uncharted 1. Uncharted 1, you're in the jungle looking for a German U-boat. Okay, cool. I know where they're going with this. And then they step outside, they go to run, and they see something, and it just cuts. And I'm like, all right, cool. I know where they're going with this. This is good. This is going to be a good time. So the movie's very funny. It has just like little clips here and there. It's not like a fucking comedy show. It's not dark humor. It's just like on the nose, funny comebacks, little statements here and there, witty remarks. It's a fun time. And I can't wait for a sequel. And also, let's just talk about the fact that the PlayStation Studios intro is fucking badass. I got to see my boy Kratos on the big screen, bro. I got to see Aloy. I got to see the little dude from Little Big Planet, Sockman, or whatever the fuck his name is, Sockboy.
Sackboy.
Sackboy. I got to see him. It shows all. I got to see Joel and Ellie. Oh, it's great. Dude, in there, I got a little tingly, right? When I'm sitting in the theater, dude, and I see the PlayStation Studios logo, and I see it cycling through all like the different PlayStation IPs, and I'm just like, this is good.
It's pretty good.
We need more of this. We need more of this. And I can't wait for the Last of Us TV show. I'm like, we just need more. We need more. I like new interpretations of characters. That's a quote directly stolen from one of my favorite YouTubers, but it's true.
If it's anything
new interpretations
like,
are great.
If it goes anything like the Witcher series, it'll be pretty good.
Yeah.
Like I like the Witcher games, the Witcher series, like the Witcher Netflix series it's pretty good.
Yeah.
I enjoyed it quite a lot.
Yeah, for sure. No, I'm honestly more excited for The Last of Us than I am for The Witcher for the TV shows, just because The Witcher to me is like my only foray into The Witcher is The Witcher 3. Nothing else. So with The Last of Us, I know start to finish that whole fucking story.
What I foresee happening, it's another one of my predictions.
A Chris prediction. A Chris diction.
This is what I see happening.
Get your oracle ball. Put your hands out. I'll paste one. Hold them steady. I'll paste one into your hands. You and your crystal ball. There you go.
Nice. It's crystal ball noises. I don't know what that was. So
man's doing a secret chant. Leviosa.
That doesn't even make sense to me. So this is what I foresee happening. Last of Us. People loved The Last of Us.
Yeah.
Last of Us 2. All kinds of fucking outrage over it.
All kinds of controversy. Yeah.
Which I still don't fully understand, but I don't know The Last of Us, so that's the thing.
Chris, literally Cyberpunk. They made the main character a lesbian. Unplayable. Done. Over it. Can't play it. That's why people were mad.
So the main character's gay?
That was a huge part of it.
That's why they were mad?
It's a huge part of it, yeah.
What's wrong with that?
I don't know.
See, this is my issue, okay? And this is going to be a little, like... This is going to stray a bit from what we normally talk about. This is what I'm going to talk about here. Characters in games and movies and things. There's, like, a lot of characters that exist in, like, shitty shows and shitty movies and shitty games that are gay for the sake of being gay. Just to have, like, we put a gay person in here.
Yeah.
Cool. And that's their whole thing. And that is stupid, right? That kind of sucks. But, like, if you work it into the story, or, like, you put it into the story in some fashion, it's not bad. You know what I'm saying? It doesn't have to be, like... I feel like it would be boring. It's boring as shit just to have the same thing over and over and over again.
Yeah.
It's like, it's a man and a woman in a relationship, man and a woman in a relationship. Or it's like, there's a romance between two characters. It's a man and a woman. So it introduces a different element. It's like, these are two women. It's like, are they friends? Oh, okay, they're more than friends.
Yeah.
So it's like I don't see what the problem with that is. A lot of people seem to, yell about pandering and stuff when they put that shit into games. It's like, I just think and I hate to say this, but like I just think it shows that maybe your problem isn't with this character. Your problem is with gay people.
Yeah.
And that's what I see sometimes. It's like, oh, it's pandering to the gay, but that's just a gay character.
But is it not pandering on the other hand if we're like, okay, we're not going to put a gay character because the, straight white male and straight white female and whatever community is not okay with it?
Exactly.
That
or it's like
pandering?
when they put like a, and you see this too with like, if they put like a black character or a black main character in a game.
Yeah.
Like, oh, it's pandering. Pandering to who? Pandering to who?
So
it's just the person's black.
Yeah, 1 out of every 15 games has a black character, and it's a big deal.
Yeah.
That's the people that, like you said, I don't think
It's like, I don't think your problem is with this character.
Or the game. I think
or the game. I think your problem is with the way they portray the character. I think your problem is with black people.
Yeah, exactly.
It's but it's also a fine line. It's like, you kind of have to weed that out. It's like, to a point where you're like, okay, this person could be making a sincere point, but also like, maybe you should think about your optics. Maybe you shouldn't say things like that.
Yeah. And the way it's done in The Last of Us 2 that people were mad about, like, it was handled excellently. Like, the way that they introduce the gay relationship was done so well.
Yeah.
And I, as a straight male, at the time of playing, probably like, I think I was 18, had no issues with that. I was like, it's cool. And
yeah, that's fine.
Was the one playing this character, because you know why? Because I wasn't playing the character like, this is just like me, like how people play games, like, I need to see myself in the character. No, I didn't see myself.
She's just like me, for real.
I didn't see myself in the character. No, what happened was just like in Red Dead 2, I don't see myself as Arthur Morgan. I see Arthur Morgan as a real living person, and I see Ellie as a real living person. So I was more like, wow, this real living person is going through these struggles and these fights.
Yeah, exactly.
And has these emotions. That's what I was there for. And it was fucking perfect.
Yeah, see, that's where I think about it. It's like, I don't know what the fuck is going on.
Your dad is like beating your cat to death.
Not every character has to be the same, is what I'm trying to say. Like, or wasn't there something recently with God of War, the new one? How like one of the characters was supposed to be black.
Right, one of the gods, I think, is black.
Is black.
In history or whatever, in mythology, is not, or vice versa.
It's that's neither here nor there.
But it's new interpretations. That's the thing.
It's like, why even bother complaining about this? It just kind of makes you look bad.
Yeah.
You know?
If it bothers you, vote with your wallet. That's how I always argue.
Yeah,
vote
just
with your wallet.
don't buy the fucking game.
If I'm upset about something, I just won't buy the game. Maybe I'll watch someone play it, but I won't buy the game.
It's like if I watched like Moonlight, which is a movie that I had to watch for film class. It's a movie about a gay man struggling with like his sexuality, right? That's what the movie's about. That's the whole plot line of the movie.
The whole plot, yeah.
Right? And then I watched that and then like if I watched that and like got mad that there's gay people in it. I'm like, man, this is literally pandering.
They tricked me. They betrayed me.
They betrayed me. I didn't know there was gonna be gays in this.
Yeah.
Like it just kind of it's not a good look.
No. And like I said, I just always vote my wallet. Money is the biggest thing. If you don't support something that you don't believe in. So if you're that upset about The Last of Us 2, don't play it.
Yeah, and that's the thing. I feel like a lot of the outrage you saw was from people who didn't even fucking play it.
No, what a lot of it really was people who read headlines and were like, there's a huge mob mentality in this world of, oh, you're mad about this? So am I.
Or yeah, it's like this person I watch on YouTube is angry about this, so now I am.
Yeah. And it's a bad...
You could just be a normal person capable of your own thoughts. Like, right. That's possible, too.
Right.
You get this, like you said, mob mentality of like, oh, well, there's outrage about a gay character, so I'm going to be mad about the gay character.
Yeah.
In a game. And it's fine if it's an annoying way. Like, it's like, oh, this character exists just to be the gay one.
Yeah.
Like that's kind of annoying.
They fill a role.
And they don't have like their own story or personality behind it.
Yeah.
And they're just like the gay one. I'm like, okay, that's obvious pandering. That's annoying.
Yeah.
But just having a character, like a main character who has their own stories, thoughts, emotions, feelings.
Yeah.
Their own like story and development, and they just happen to be gay, I don't see a problem with that.
Yeah.
Shut up, dude. My cat has been screaming all morning. He's upset about something.
Yeah. But that's the problem, is essentially like when they're a character of their own and people are still upset, it's like it's not a filler content. It's not like here's the Asian guy to be the Asian guy, here's the black guy to be the black guy, here's a gay person to be a gay person. That's just not what it's for. Like in The Last of Us 2 specifically, just because we were talking about it, there's multiple layers to that. You have your main character, Ellie, who's a lesbian. You have her girlfriend, who's like part Spanish. Then you have their friend, who's Asian. And there's a huge dynamic, but none of those characters are there to be like, oh, well, that's clearly the guy to fill the guy's shoes. No, that is a different character with different thoughts, different opinions.
Then you have that crowd of people that's like, obvious pandering to the woke agenda.
Yeah.
Okay, shut up.
And the other thing,
just enjoy the game. If you don't like the game, don't play it.
The thing too about the game that a lot of people don't like is like some of the violence and stuff, like what happens to some of the characters. And in some ways, The Last of Us 2 is like one of the most innovative in terms of storytelling, because you don't get any sort of drawn out circumstances. They put you in the shoes of this character in a world that is unrelenting. The whole purpose of The Last of Us is to be this horrible world with horrible creatures, and they do that for real. They don't hold anything back. One of the biggest things, spoiler alert if you haven't played it, is you're in a movie theater, right? Hiding out. You're literally there with the Asian guy that was mentioned before. His name's, I think, Jesse, if I remember correctly. You're there with him, right? And people were mad at the way they kill him off in the game. And you know how they do it, right? You know how most games would be like, oh, he's going to get shot, he's going to bleed, and then they're going to be like, oh, no, please don't go, and then he's going to die?
Yeah.
No. You get attacked, and he just gets shot in the head and dies.
Oh, wait, hang on. I'm having a brain blast right now.
Yep.
So there was a game, came out a few years ago, and you were this main character. It was like a kind of an old-timey thing, and you were a main character with like your buddies, and like at one of the points in the story, one of the big climaxes within the story, is like you walk into a town and it's all quiet and you're walking, and then one of the main characters, one of his buddies, just gets shot in the head and dies, and they realize they walked into a trap, and that was a main character
that's all
that
you
died.
hear about it? Is that all you hear about it?
And then
that's like it. You don't get to have like a talk with him.
No. Yeah, he just gets shot in the head.
Dead.
He's gone.
So he's just gone. He never appears again.
Okay. Yeah. So, I forget what. Oh yeah. Red Dead Redemption 2.
Yeah.
That happened in part 3 with Rhodes. You at the end of that part, you walk into Rhodes. The Greys lead you into a trap. Sean gets shot in the head.
His head is taken in half.
He gets JFK'd, bro.
Yeah.
No monologue, no speech, no like remember me. Fucking
nope. Dead.
He just gets shot in the head,
you
bury him. And
not to mention in that in the following chapter, Kieran.
Oh yeah.
Kieran just gets sent in on horseback.
He
with
dies
his head.
off screen. He gets beheaded off screen.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. So that the thing that people are mad about is literally in The Last of Us 2. This scene, you hear people on the other side of a door, so you're like, all right, we're gonna bust through. But the problem is the person on the other side of the door is like a really trained combat veteran, so they're ready for you. So you're thinking like, oh, we're the fucking heroes of this game.
We got
this. You bust through the door and the bitch just turns and fucking takes his head off, and he's just dead. That's it. There's no talk. He goes, all right, 1, 2, 3, bust through the door, and he's dead.
And that's what they're upset about?
And people were mad about that death.
And it's the same people that are like, man, Red Dead Redemption 2 is such a good game, and then the same fucking thing happens.
Yeah.
The same fucking thing happens in that game. Yeah. The same fucking thing happens to Lenny. The same fucking thing happens.
Yeah.
He walks across a rooftop, some guys open the door, he gets shot.
Yeah. You're not even in a cutscene.
Not even in a cutscene. In gameplay, he gets shot.
And that's it. And you get like 3 to 4 seconds of Arthur being like, oh, Lenny. And that's it. And then you gotta run.
And then, like, at the end of the mission, there's, like, a little thing about Lenny.
And
like
Hosea.
And Hosea. And he does, like... The Hosea one is, like, again, same thing. He just gets shot.
Yeah.
He has, like, kind of a monologue because he gets captured beforehand.
Yeah.
So it, like, makes sense to have, like, a little thing.
Mm-hmm.
And then he just gets shot. And that's it. So it's, like... And those scenes aren't uneventful.
No.
It's like it's not like, oh, you killed off that character like that.
Yeah.
No, it's like, oh man, this character that I've been with for this much time is just dead. So it's like it's that same idea. It's like, oh, well, he just gets shot, and that's how it works. Because that's if they wanted to mimic this like gritty, like real life sort of scenario, that's how it would work.
Well, that's what The Last of Us 2 tried to do.
That's how it would work.
It's gritty. There's no you're not the hero in this story. That's the whole point of The Last of Us 2 is it takes what happened in The Last of Us 1 and spins it to a different angle where you're not the hero. So the whole point of The Last of Us 1 is essentially, hey, you're this guy before the apocalypse, your daughter dies, then you get this other girl in the apocalypse who's immune, and you have to bring her to the doctors because then they can get a cure based off her genes. And you're like, all right, cool, I'm on it. And you're doing it for pay, basically. And then you get an attachment to the girl. And then they're like, hey, it didn't work out. She's going to die, actually. But we're going to get a cure, so it's okay. So your character, Joel, makes the decision of like, no, fuck humanity. I'm saving her. Her life's more important. That's not the right decision, truthfully, in like the real world. So he saves her. The second game basically takes that and goes, here's the consequences of those actions. Because when you save her, you kill numerous people in the hospital, and it turns out you killed the father of a girl named Abby, and she hunts you down in the second game and kills you, and that's in the first hour of the game. She kills the main character of the first game just like that, gone. And then you spend the remainder of the second game hunting her down, and then just as you're about to kill her, you find out that she's been taking care of a kid, and you're like, oh, yeah, maybe we are the shitty ones in this situation.
So it's... hang on. I'm getting another brain blast moment here. Mm-hmm. So, a character. There was this series of video games. A character, he just keeps getting fucked over and over and over again. And he kills his father. Mm-hmm. He kills his father. He's like, you did this to me. And then some time passes and he has his own son. Yeah. And he realizes... we
can't do this anymore.
We can't do this again. This stops with me. Mm-hmm. This is a thing that cannot continue.
And that was a small game, right?
It was this little small game. You might have heard of it. God of War. Yeah. The series. Yeah. The entire series. Kratos kills Zeus, and then the whole point of God of War 4 2018 is like he's like the cycle ends. He gives that whole talk to Atreus at the end. He's like. He
says it to fucking Baldur, for instance, he's like, killing him.
He goes, who I was is not who you will be. We will be the gods we choose. So it's the same thing. It's like we have to be better. Yeah. As a character going, I have to be better than who came before me. I have to kind of let this go. Yeah. As hard as it may be.
Yeah. That's essentially what the whole point of the game is. It's like you're trying to kill her, and then you just, as you're doing it, you're just like, well, to be honest, we weren't the heroes in the first place. So I think that's where a lot of people get conflicting feelings because they're so used to being the hero of every story. You're always the hero in every game. You're the fucking alpha. You're always the one saving the day. Yeah. But in The Last of Us, it puts it into a real perspective where it's like, well, no, your actions have consequences to others.
People are used to, in video games, a black and a white. So there's a clear good guy and bad guy. You're the good guy. The guys you're fighting are bad guys. Yeah. Right? And in real life, it's very rarely... very rarely works like that. There's like, oh, well, what you're doing is kind of... It's good because it suits like your purposes or it suits like the greater good, but also what you're doing is like reprehensible.
Yeah, well, it's like the better of two evils.
Yeah, it's like you're still doing something bad, but you're not an evil person. You're not doing it for a bad reason. Yeah. It's... And if you want a narrative that's more realistic and you want your characters and your narrative to seem more human, that's what you have to put in.
Yeah. It's that dynamic.
Yeah. So, and you have to kind of put in like the real change in characters.
This cat, dude.
Shut up! Fuck.
This fucking cat. Yeah, you need to show both sides of it, because it's like you said, everything has a repercussion. Even if you're doing the good thing, there's a repercussion.
Yeah.
And honestly, that's kind of what the Metro series does. Not as good as something like Red Dead 2 or The Last of Us 2, but for more of like a double A tier game, the end of the first Metro book, as well as the first Metro game, you're like, we gotta kill that new creature. Let's bomb it. And then just as you bomb it, you realize you're like, oh, they were an evolved species that was actually trying to save the planet.
Oh, fuck.
But because
we
you and
fucked
your...
up.
Because humans, and their nature of being, protective and naive to a lot of things, first sight, you're like, oh, they killed people, they're bad. But really what it was is that their level of mental thinking, their level of intelligence was so high that the way the Metro series plays it out is when they would try to communicate with humans, they would die. Because these were just such upper echelon creatures.
Yeah.
So it turns out that only one character can actually communicate with them, and it's your character. So you're still like the good guy, but at the end, as you're blowing them up, they communicate with you like with their true intention.
Like,
what
please
could
stop.
have
What
been.
are you doing?
And it's irreparable. You already, as the bombs are about to land, and they show you what could have been had humanity worked with them, and your character's like, oh fuck.
Oh no.
Like they showed literally restoring the Earth after nuclear fallout.
Yeah, it's like again, like Red Dead 2, it's why the characters seem so human. Is because it's like, oh, these people are not doing good things.
No, not at all.
There's nothing really inherently good about robbing a bank and shooting your way out of a town. Shooting like
35, 40 people.
Like 40 or 50 police officers.
Yeah.
That were just trying to protect their town.
Yeah.
Right? There's nothing good about that. But the whole point of the story is your main character, Arthur Morgan, realizing that's like, man, this is not good.
I'm the villain in a way.
Like, I'm a bad person. And he even acknowledges it throughout the story.
He's like, I ain't a good person.
Yeah, he's like, when you talk to the nun,
yeah,
she's like, you have a heart. You're a nice person. He's like, no, I'm not. I'm a terrible person.
Yeah. And
he just like, and then she kind of gives him that speech of like, well, you need to be the person you want to be for the time you have left.
Yeah. Set your own example for now.
That's, I think, what makes that story so great.
Yeah.
But
yep.
Some people don't see it that way. I don't get it.
Yeah. I would prefer... It's just some people don't like to think. They like to just do. It's the same thing about action movies, like we said, Fast and Furious.
Don't think, just do. There's plenty of games for don't think, just do.
Most games are don't think, just do, and that's where when you get the odd one out, like The Last of Us or The Last of Us 2, where some people just
when there's nuance to it.
Yeah, some people just can't. Your casual fan, you have that guy who's just like a dad living in an apartment, and he's pissed about the fact that you have a gay character because he just can't. It's not something he lives with, so he just can't think of it from someone else's perspective.
Yeah,
it's all his perspective. So in the first Last of Us, when you play as Joel and you lose your daughter, he's like, man, this is a great game. But then when you play as the daughter, as a lesbian, he's like, well, I can't relate. This is stupid.
Well, but bad. Yeah, I don't know. I also think about it this way. It's like, I've been me for my entire life.
Yeah.
I
think I have. Yeah.
What I am. I want to see something else.
Yeah.
Right? Like, I want to see a character who's different from me in a way. Like, he's, like, I can still see kind of morals, and I can see myself in this character, but, like, they're different from me.
Yeah.
So.
Yep.
Yeah, I want to watch, I don't want to be like, oh, I am literally this character.
Yeah.
If you want that, play like Skyrim.
Yeah.
You can be your character, that's the point.
Yeah. There's plenty of games for that, and that's why I think when something like Red Dead comes out, like, I look at Arthur and, like, his changes through the story, and I'm like, oh yeah, he's starting to more so morally align with me.
There's something fundamentally relatable to this.
Yeah.
But also, Arthur Morgan is a much different person. Like, if he was a real person, he'd be much, much different than I am.
Yeah. completely different. Obviously, just given the fact that it's different period in history, but in general, from a personality standpoint and a character trait standpoint, much different. For one, he's an alpha male. I'm a fucking beta, so
damn.
There's that. No, Arthur Morgan's fucking a beast. But that's the thing is, there's, like you said, there's something to it, the evolution of the character that you can totally relate to, but you're also in no way similar to them. You're vastly different.
Yeah, it's nuanced.
Yeah.
It's the reason. Also, there's the reason why in Breaking Bad, that towards the end of the season 5, which is like towards the end of the series, there's a moment where Walt gets arrested, and circumstance happens. Everyone fucking gets killed, right? It's like there's a massacre that happens, basically. Walt gets freed. He comes back home to his family, who know that he had been arrested. So they know he had been arrested already. Comes back, and then he tries to get his family. He's like, "Listen, we gotta go," and he's gonna just disappear. And he wants his family to come with him. So he's got some money. He's got his family, and in his mind, he's like, "All right, I'm gonna talk this out, and everything's gonna be fine." And then there's like the argument, and there's an argument between him and his wife because the guy that arrested him was his brother-in-law. And then he gets killed. So there's the argument, and then Skylar, his wife, pulls a knife on him. It's like, "Listen, get the fuck out of my house. I don't want you around here. Go do what you got to do, but I don't want to see you again." And then basically there's like a fight that happens between them. And then what happened was people hated her character for doing something that was completely morally justifiable.
Morally justifiable, and also the most likely outcome in that situation.
Which is like completely morally justifiable, because I don't think people realize that towards the tail end of the series, or it's like towards the whole series, leads up to Walter White becoming a villain. He becomes just like a terrible, terrible man. And people kind of like still see themselves in Walter White. Or like it's the same thing with the Joker too. It's like, "Oh, I see myself in the Joker." You're supposed to look at the Joker like, "Okay, I understand what went wrong here. I understand where he's coming from. But I also don't want to be that."
Yeah, I also don't find it acceptable as a reaction to what happened.
Yeah.
Killing all these people.
Like, I understand what he did. I understand why he did what he did. But I also don't think... I also still don't think it's a good thing.
Yeah.
So...
Yeah, no,
for
sure.
That's where you get nuance to it, and people don't understand nuance a lot of times.
Yeah. Well, a lot of it is like the two wrongs don't make a right, kind of that adage, where it's like you can see where someone was wronged and they tried to do a wrong to someone else in return. And you're like, okay, if I was in their shoes, I can understand where you'd be so mad, you'd be so upset, so gut-wrenched that you would be like, I want to kill this person. But does that necessarily make it okay?
Yeah.
Like even down to stuff you see in like real life, like if someone is driving under the influence and they kill someone, yes, as the parent or the lover or whoever of the person that was killed, yeah, you might want to kill that person, but does that necessarily make it okay for you to do that? Technically, no. So that's kind of the nuance to it, like you said.
Yeah, it's I think that is the big problem, is people don't understand that people want a yes or a no, or like a 1 or a 0.
Yeah.
They want it to be.
They don't
like,
want to. Maybe.
Yeah, they don't want to be somewhere in the middle. It's like, oh, okay, these actions that were taken out were terrible, but also I kind of understand why they were taken. I understand this, or like I agree with their end point, but like the way they got there is like terrible.
Rough.
It's like it wasn't a good thing to do.
Yeah. Well, it's even like, just going back to Uncharted, because this is a big thing you see all the time, is where people are like, yeah, Nathan Drake said you're dead. Do you know how many people you murder for treasure? Chris, do you have any idea how, for the aspiration of money, how many people you kill for money in those games?
Yeah.
The whole plot of that game is to get treasure, and in the process, you kill thousands of people. Thousands of people who are working, who have a job at this company, that have family, that, like, have friends. you're just killing people.
Yep.
But people are still like, yeah, Nathan Drake's a hero. No, he's not. He's doing things for himself, and sure, his story ends with him retired on the beach after killing so many people to get where he got.
He's selfish. That's the thing.
But people are still just like, woo, you go, Nate. You know?
I don't know. I just think people... I just think in general there's not a lot of thought that people put into things.
Right.
Because then you get like movies and stuff like that where it's like you don't have to put thought into it. It makes sense what they're doing.
Yeah.
It's like, okay, this one's easy to figure out. If there's pieces you have to put together, that's where you lose people. And I'm not saying that's like... I'm not saying this to sound like a intellectually superior, because it's like a shitty way to talk.
Yeah.
The reason I say this is like, just maybe think about the things that you consume. If you think about it, there's probably more of an underlying message to a lot of things.
Yeah.
That you're not seeing. I'm saying this because I want more people to see this, because once you experience it maybe the way that it was intended to be experienced by the director,
different perspective.
It gets a lot better.
Yeah. Well, it's like something I do a lot, because I'm not a very smart person. I'm not, like you said, I'm not intellectually superior.
Yeah,
I don't have the greatest analytical skills for media, so what I always do, online. There's tons of different perspectives online, and there's people whose jobs are to critique this media and understand
it's like, okay, there's this little detail here, and then they kind of expand upon the detail, and you're like,
I get
okay,
it
that
now.
really makes sense.
Yeah.
I like that, and then you think about it more. Like, again, I'm not a crazy intelligent person. It's just like, I'm smart enough to know I'm not a genius.
Yeah.
And so if I will jump to things like that. It's like, oh, the director's probably trying to say this.
Yeah.
So
I do that all the time. Literally, like I said, I beat Dying Light 2 the other day, and I immediately went online and was like, oh, Dying Light 2, multiple endings and fan theories. And I was just going through everything. I'm like, oh, okay. Oh, yeah, that makes sense now. Now I can kind of understand it.
Yeah.
I did the same thing with Dying Light 1. I do it with pretty much every big game. I'll go and look at what other people are saying. And some people, you can clearly tell if you have just, a slight head on your shoulders, you can clearly tell that it's like, oh, this person's just salty. They just don't like the game, so they're just talking shit. And then there's other people who are like, I like this, but I didn't like this. And then they give you this nice analytical breakdown, and you can start to see it from different perspectives.
Yep.
So.
Yep.
But wow, this turned into the Synapse Moral Podcast.
Yeah. I have a couple other things I want to talk about. I just want to move away from this for a little bit. Just, to get a little lighter.
A little lighter note, yeah.
Last night, I was at my desk, as you would be.
Yep.
This was like around midnight. I hear 4 or 5 big bangs. Sounds like someone's pounding on my door, like on my front door. It's like bang, 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 and I take off my headphones, like, what the fuck is going on?
This is at midnight, you said?
Yeah, and I listen for a second, and I hear more noises. I'm like, oh, that's weird. And then it all goes quiet, and then I hear more noises at my stairs. Who walks down around the corner? The cat. The cat. He was throwing shit around upstairs. I don't know what he was doing, but he scared the shit out of me.
Yeah.
So he walks downstairs, and then it's all quiet upstairs, and I just hear meow. I'm like, oh, okay, that makes sense.
Yeah, I had that once. So in my apartment where I sleep, I have my shotgun on the wall. I had that once where Oscar did something, and I think it was him and the guinea pigs were fighting each other through the cage. I heard a shit ton of banging, dude. I woke up, I took the fucking lock off my gun, and I ran out there.
Well, because that's the thing.
And he was just chilling.
Because that's the thing, is like, oh, if there's actually a junkie trying to break into my house right now, I gotta be ready.
Yeah.
But also, I want to say that it's the cat. Okay, turns out it's the cat.
I'm good.
It's good.
But for a minute there, your heart, dude, must be...
That happened to...
Always happens to me.
I remember when we went to the Giraffe Man's house.
Mm-hmm.
He has this little ornament or decoration or something. It's made of metal. He explained this to us, how it falls down sometimes.
And yeah.
And he said he's had times where it would fall down in the night, and he'll sweep the whole house.
Yeah.
Because he's got a handful of guns. He's got a lot of guns. So he'll like go in
Do
and
a sweep.
He'll sweep the house. He said he's done that a handful of times, half a dozen times, just because of
Yeah.
all the fucking noise that's happened.
Yeah.
So I just like listen. I'm like, okay.
If you heard a footstep, that was it.
If I
you
heard a footstep,
creak,
it would have been over.
Yeah.
It would have been over. So, you know, I was just nervous. I was just scared.
Understandably so. I do the same thing. I'm a very paranoid person when it comes to personal safety, and I live on the 3rd floor. A house is a whole different animal.
So someone gets up there, they start breaking in. They're like, okay, you're gonna be real sorry once I catch my breath and get this door down.
And then they get shot.
They just get shot immediately.
No shit. No, that's not morally okay. I wouldn't just do that. Relax. Don't come at me. No, but yeah, no. That's the thing is, even on the 3rd floor, I'm like, I'm not fucking expecting someone to kick in my window, but there's 2 doors to
Big
the apartment.
ladder.
Big ladder. It's like a cartoon. They start climbing. The ladder disappears. They're like, uh-oh. Went down.
You notice you open the window and it's like a Looney Tunes or like a Home Alone ass thing where you just push the ladder at the window and they fall backwards and they go, ooh. They go, oof. And they come back and then they like set up the ladder again and you push it again. Or they do it again where you where they actually get in and then you like push the ladder and they go back, they take stuff and then they go out and they like hang out for a second and then have like a little sign that says like help or something and they fall and it goes wee.
It's like the formula for gravity and he's like, uh-oh, and he falls.
Wee. There's like a slide whistle effect as he falls. And then it's like a Tom and Jerry scream.
But then there's a Tom and Jerry scream and then it switches to like ultra realism and they're fucking twisted and mangled at the bottom.
Jesus Christ! My legs!
The legs are in the shape of an X. I'm like, holy shit.
Oh my god, I think I seriously disabled this person. Oh my fucking god.
Their fucking femur sticking completely through. They're like, ah!
Jesus Christ!
They're like wrapped around the fence. I'm like,
please call an ambulance. They have to get rushed off and they have like surgery.
oh my god. Like, oh, how did that happen?
Oh no.
Oh,
I thought this was like a funny cartoon that I was doing. Oh no.
Secretly, it's oh man, it's like I wake up. There's actually firefighters climbing. I push them over the ladder. I'm like, oh no.
It was actually firefighters the whole time. You somehow pushed their like hydraulic ladder back in. The like big one that's on the roof of the truck.
I flipped over their truck.
You grab it by the ladder.
Leverage. It's leverage. All about that torque. It's funny.
But yeah, that was scary.
I can imagine.
Had that happen. But it's because the cat does this thing where he takes his scratching post and his claws into it, and he'll just throw it on the ground. Or he'll like the base isn't heavy enough, so he'll just like grab it and he'll go dong 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 dong. Slam it against the ground.
What an ass.
So that's what he was. So that's I imagine that's what he was doing.
Damn.
Finally, last topic. Don't want to say too much just yet, because nothing's set in stone. But I'm gonna start. I think. Uploading to my channel, again.
Yeah.
It's gonna be kind of a rebrand. And it's gonna be if it goes the way I want it to, it's gonna be completely off the rails, unhinged content.
Nice.
It's gonna make you seriously question my sanity, but I'm putting this out there now. It's a bit.
Yeah.
It's a bit. There are like real things that I'm trying to convey within the bit, but it's a bit.
Yeah.
So
he's not actually insane yet.
But it's a handful of things. I haven't done a ton of planning yet. I just kind of have a map of what I want to do in my head. And I'm gonna start doing that. But I'm not sure what just yet.
Right.
So
look out for that, I suppose. We'll obviously talk about it more once it
it's definitely
going
to be a much different approach from what I've done previously and a much different than like what we do on this show.
Yeah.
It's gonna be. I'm gonna talk about more like real things. I'm gonna talk about like more topical things instead of like, because
we're somewhat PG here. Somewhat.
I've been kind of quiet about politics, and it's something I really care about.
Yeah.
And I'm gonna convey it in a way that like kind of is humorous.
Yeah.
And you're like, oh, is this guy joking? Maybe.
Could be.
Could be.
Could be.
So that's what I kind of want to do. It's not gonna be like if you watch like who's like a big political content creator. If you watch like Vosh, it's not gonna be shit like that where I just sit down and like give you my opinion.
Right.
I'm not gonna spoon feed you my opinion. You kind of have to like pull out what my real opinion actually is.
Yeah.
It's gonna be very extreme examples of things like that. It's gonna be kind of off the rails and a little insane. I think it's gonna be funny. I think it's gonna be a good time.
Yeah. I think so. So yeah, like I said, look out for that. We'll talk about it more once there's maybe some more planning into it, or once you create something, we'll shout it out.
Yeah, it's definitely gonna get going once we have this studio in place.
Right.
Because then it'll be soundproofed and like I'll have
some space.
A space to do things, because it's just like this space that we're in is very limited. Like I can't just make a shitload of noise.
Yeah.
So if I have a decent area that's soundproofed and has like some sound deadening in it, I think it'll be fine.
Yeah, especially for where that is too, because that's like under your kitchen, isn't it? Where the studio's gonna be.
Yeah.
So it's not as bad as here, which is right under the living room, and then, bedroom's right over there somewhere. So.
Yeah, and like my room is directly under, my old bedroom. So it's like, and I think part of it's under my dad's bedroom. So.
Yeah. So you can only do so much without being a complete asshole.
Yeah, and that's the thing I want to avoid, especially if I'm like gonna say complete fuck shit too.
Yeah. Right. But no, nice. We'll look out for that. But I'm done. This was an interesting episode.
There's gonna be no Jordan resurgence on YouTube.com. I know you do videos with your girlfriend.
No, so fun fact, I used to make gaming videos, and when.
Yeah, you showed me one from like, I don't know, some years ago. I think when you were still in middle school, and you looked like a baby.
Yeah, so that was different. That was like I had an actual channel with over 100 videos and 400 subscribers, like a legit like Let's Play channel.
Yeah,
that
okay.
I did in high school up until freshman year. The end of freshman year, I mean. I did it from like 7th grade and on, maybe, or 8th grade and on. The other one was like that. That one's fucking funny.
That's a deep cut.
Yeah. We won't talk about it. We're not.
That was like my old channel I had before this one was like, I did between like 6th grade and like 9th grade.
Yeah.
And I was like, man, I was rewatching some of those old videos. I'm like, man, I was fucking annoying. I was really annoying. And I watched like one of my last ones that I made, and I was like, oh, so this is when I started to actually get funny.
Yeah. So with the channel though, when we moved out, I was like, yeah, I should get into this again, like because now I have my own space completely. So let me get into this again. I tried to make a gaming video, and I was just like, my heart's not in it. So I've made a gaming video with Letsy before, a Call of Duty Vanguard video and a Fortnite video, but I don't know. There's just something about it where I'm just like, I don't feel, kind of like the same thing you've talked about, where like you make a video and you're just kind of like, yeah, it's just not good.
Yeah,
not happy with
I
it.
definitely get in that rut a lot with like
It's what we did with a lot of our IRL videos too.
Like I was going through all my entire folder. So I have my folder of just shit that I write, and now it's broken down into some subfolders. So I was looking through it. I'm like, okay, this is something that I wrote and didn't finish. This is something I wrote and didn't make. This is something I wrote and didn't make. This is something I wrote and didn't make. More things that I wrote and didn't make. And like, I would say probably 85% of the stuff in there is shit that I wrote and didn't make, or it didn't even finish the script. So I was just like, man, I'm bored with this now. Or I would go to make it. I'm like, man, this video sucks.
Yeah.
So that's what I kind of want to avoid. I think with this new style, I think a lot more planning is going to go into each video. Mm-hmm. It's going to be a lot more of like, I would like to do some on location stuff, but that is yet to be seen, because I don't like want to make a complete ass of myself in public. So
yeah, right. But yeah, I'm done.
All right, we're doing an outro. If you enjoyed what you heard or saw today, this is a frustrating one to make.
This is a frustrating. It was a really good episode, but it was frustrating.
If you enjoyed what you heard today, do all the normal YouTube stuff, and you can find us on the following platforms, and you can also contact us on the following platforms.
Yeah, so you can find us natively on Apple Podcast, Google Podcast, Breaker, Radio Public, Spotify, and of course Pocket Cast. That's my app of choice. As always, contact us via email, synapsemisfire@pm.me. Comments, questions, concerns, and death threats. There's also Instagram and TikTok. All of that's linked down below, as always. And yeah.
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 Okay, that's it. We're done.